This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
And I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Good evening, Jason Glick. How are you?
I'm good, John. Yourself?
Oh, not too bad. It's we're not washed away into the ocean yet. Okay, so
That's never going to be a problem considering where we are.
yeah, exactly. But we gotten a lot more rain than usual. But that's horrible, 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 horrible. We don't everywhere else that listen. Anyone else that listens to this podcast that's not from Southern or California at all, or Southern California, they're like, "What's the big deal about rain in the winter?" Anyway,
The
so
thing is, like, we don't get any of it
yeah, that's the problem.
usually.
Small price to pay for living. That's a great state. Anyway, so what do you have on tap for us tonight, anyway?
Okay, well, I'm talking about like one of the best known manga series, like amongst a certain audience, I guess. And that's Lone Wolf and Cub. Now, this is a series by writer Kazuo Koike and artist Goseki Kojima. Now, this is a series that started back in the 70s, was a huge success for the creators, selling over 8 million copies. It's like of its 28 volumes, spawning several movies and a couple TV series along the way. The thing is, it has a high concept of being about like an assassin in it's like in the Edo period of Japan, or like the Tokugawa era. It's like who also was being a father to his son at the same time. So he was basically here's a guy, a hired killer who'd kill anyone for like 500 gold pieces, 500 ryo. But he was also, carting his 3-year-old son around at the same time. So you're kind of wondering, what kind of guy would go into be a hired killer? It's like while carting around his son. Well, the guy in question is a guy named Ito Ogami, who was a former executioner to the Shogun, and he was damn good at his job. Problem is that his position was also coveted by the by the Yagyu clan, basically like the guys who ran the Shogun's ninja. In the case of the story, is headed by a guy named Retsudo Yagyu. It's like old guy was dedicated to expanding his family's power, while he had covered. He was basically responsible for all the secret intelligence of the Shogun. He also covered the post of executioner as well. So the Yagyu framed Ogami for anti-Shogun treason, and also murdered his wife while she was pregnant with his son. But the son lived, and while Ogami was ordered by the shogunate to commit seppuku, ritual suicide, he said, "Fuck that! It's like I'm going to enter the Mefumadu, the road, the road to hell, and become an assassin in order to clear my name." So he and his son Daigoro basically became an assassin team, and it's like that's how it is. You've got it's an interesting concept. It's kind of like it's still kind of wrong to involve a kid in this kind of thing, even as it sounds today. But the writing from Koike and the art from Kojima really elevated the story, really, to the point that it's like if you thing is that you need to get in order to fully enjoy Lone Wolf and Cub, like the original series, you need to disperse yourself with the fact that Ogami is going to survive every single encounter he comes across, whether it's from some guy that he's been hired to kill by some rich people, or just some sort of vengeance, some sort of vendetta by some poor people, or by the latest scheme from the Yagyu, or from the shogunate himself. He's going to live through every single one of these until the very end. Spoiler warning for a series that's been over for 3 decades now. But that's the thing is with what's enjoyable about the original series, Lone Wolf and Cub, is that it's like Koike takes you on a thorough tour of Edo era Japan. It's like from he'll take you up he'll dig into just about every aspect of life in there, from the sex trade to building bridges to crossing rivers to the to home life. It's like everything in there. It's like, or like we'll see about Buddhist monks preaching non-violence to Ogami, but ultimately show him like the way to kill them in the end, or just like sword masters who try to who make a living like telling people to whack their heads on the side of the road, but being skilled enough to catch their blades and their clubs with their hands. So it's less a story about just is this guy going to survive every challenge he comes across? Don't get hung up on that, because he will. He will survive 99.9999% of them. But it's all about just like enjoying the picture of feudal Japan that Koike provides. It's like, and also there is an overarching story to it as well. But but it's very episodic for the first 20 or so volumes, really. And I say 20 or so volumes because like I have the original 28 volume release of it, and I'm not going to replace it. Even though Dark Horse has reprinted the series in 12 omnibus volumes, because, well, this is strictly personal reasons, but back when I was briefly writing for IGN, I was actually quoted on the back of volume 17, saying it was the most perfect example of samurai life you could hope for in Japan. It's like, and they printed it, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, man, I'm in print. But I kind of doubt they've got the same thing on the on Omnibuy, but I guess I could check and then we'll see. But still, it's like that's why I'm not giving up my volumes for now. But basically, said for the first 20 volumes of the series, it's basically just it's like Ito Ogami and his son Daigoro like finding new inventive ways to kill like whoever they've been asked to, or just finding ways to not kill people according to their specific interpretation of the samurai code, really. Because even though it's like Ogami like professes to be on the road of Meifumato, the road to hell, it's like he's honestly still kind of a good guy. Yeah, there will be still do some questionable stuff. It's like in the end, but he's still fighting on the side of justice. I mean, like, yeah, it's like even though it's like he's essentially like betraying the samurai code just by being alive, it's like you're still like on his side, because we know that hey, he was framed, he was wronged, so we're gonna go along with him on this devil's road. So the series does get more serialized around episode 20, volume 20 or so. Once we find out just why Ogami has been accumulating this giant fortune, which is kind of a slightly bullshit reason, but also when Retsudo Yagyu finds up against Abeno Kai, the shogun's poisoner, and the main big bad guy of the series finds himself up against a villain who's worthy of his own schemes. But it's also like Ogami's also been is also preparing himself for the final battle with the Yagyu, having killed pretty much everyone else in the Yagyu family. So really, it's like the original run of the Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a good episodic series about that. Really does a good job of illuminating feudal Japan, and also evolves a strong serialized aspect at the end. That if you can buy into it, and I think it's fairly easy to. It's worth your time. So, yeah, and it's also worth noting that this is Dark Horse's most successful manga series of all time. The original 28-volume run of the series sold over 1 million copies for them. But, and there's always a but here, because, I am deeply critical of Dark Horse's manga efforts these days. It's worth noting that this is actually a license rescue from them. This best-selling series of theirs was originally published by First Comics back in 1987 with iconic covers from Frank Miller, which helped sell the series like for 49 issues before First Comics went under in 92. Now, it's like the 12-volume reprint obviously keeps Frank's covers because hey, he's the best, he's the big draw here. But it's worth noting that in the end, rather than actually sell this series themselves, this is a series that Dark Horse relied on another company and Frank Miller in order to help break. So I guess my issue here is that while I'm definitely not ungrateful to the fact that they were able to finish this series, but publish it in its entirety. But it's also something that shows that the Dark Horse does have kind of a fundamental weakness in terms of selling stuff that isn't that if it doesn't catch on immediately, like say something with Blade of the Immortal, or if it doesn't have a built-in sell factor, like say Frank Miller and the audience's exposure to the property back courtesy of First Comics, their Dark Horse is kind of fucked as far as selling stuff. So that's my main issue with these. That's why I feel that rather than see I like to think of them as the Sega to Viz Comics Nintendo from back in the Unflip days when they were the only two publishers publishing comics manga regularly. But in the end, it's while it was easy to view Sega is in a near constant decline these days, they're still a major force. But Dark Horse these days, Dark Horse manga still kind of looks like less like Sega in the sense that they're not really a force, but they're kind of like Konami in the sense that it took until once we realized that hey, it's after Metal Gear Solid 5, there wasn't really anything they were putting out. They've been dead for a while. We just haven't realized it. That's kind of how I feel about Dark Horse these days. And the series' new Lone Wolf and Cub does kind of feel like another nail in the coffin in there. Now, here's the thing: putting a sequel to a legendary series like Lone Wolf and Cub is a very tricky proposition, to be sure. But Koike, who is still writing this series, but he's now joined by a new artist because Kojima died back in 2000. It's this new artist Hideki Mori. Guy's got bad skills, honestly. It's he does a great job of nailing the old school, intricately detailed approach that Kojima had. It's and also having a much looser, more varied approach to it. Much as I like Kojima's style, he also had he was using the same heads for a lot of the same characters. Hideki Mori, guy will give everyone their their distinct appearance, and it's given a lot of detail for every different scene. He's a very worthy successor to what the story that Kojima is writing, more so than the writing itself, because New Lone Wolf and Cub takes place right at the end of the original series, with everyone dead except for Daigoro. And Daigoro is left on the beach to just fend for himself. Along comes a samurai, guy by the name of Togo Shigekata. He's a member of the Satsuma. He is from the Satsuma Han, who and if anyone's familiar with Dark Horse's not published in its entirety Satsuma Gishiden, you'll know that the Satsuma samurai are really hardcore samurai motherfuckers. And Shigekata, well, he's a hardcore samurai motherfucker too, to the point where he realizes that Daigoro is the son of Ito Ogami, so he's destined to become a legendary samurai warrior. Now, you'd think that hey, some guy some samurai ronin walking up from on the beach to encounter like Daigoro, you think that, hey, what the fuck does he have? What right does he have to be intruding on this legendary series? Well, one of the genius parts, well, actually, really the only genius part for new Lone Wolf and Cub is that criticism of Shigekata is kind of built into like the first couple of volumes of New Lone Wolf and Cub, to the point where Shigekata says that, hey, it's like, tells Daigoro that, hey, if my sword handle will fit in your dad's scabbard, it's like, your soul will accept me. Your dad's soul will accept me. And so Daigoro does this. He grabs his dad's samurai scabbard, and he does, and lo and behold, Shigekata's sword fits perfectly. So hey, first hurdle occurred. First hurdle cleared. Then you got like Shigekata encountering the legendary baby card that Ogami wielded Daigoro around it. And so when Daigoro notices Shigekata inspecting this, he hits one of the parts on the handles for the cart, and one of the spears on it jumps out. And Shigekata is quick enough to dodge this. Now, you think that, hey, okay, like, this little kid just tried to murder me. It's like, there's something wrong here. But, Shigekata looks at this and says, so I see, you were testing me. If I was not quick enough to dodge this, then you would not have accepted me as your, as a successor to your father. It's like, to be honest, yeah, that's, a guy who can kind of laugh off this kind of quote unquote test from a kid who has seen untold murders in front of his son. Yeah, he's kind of I think he's kind of worthy to teach this kid. And also, then you got another thing in the volume when you find out that Daigoro tells Shigekata where his father's fortune is being held, and Shigekata says, no, I'm not into that at all. It's like we're just gonna burn these notes. It's like we're just gonna continue on the samurai road. And you think, hey, this guy's actually a pretty decent character. I mean, compared to Ogami, who was kind of very cold, very brisk, very centered on his mission about a vengeance. It's like Shigekata, he's warmer, more compassionate in ways that Ogami wasn't, but he's also utterly committed to the role of samurai, to the point where he's the kind of guy who says, Daigoro, you're not going to eat until you split this rock right here with this piece of wood. And lo and behold, it's like he shows that Daigoro that, yeah, it can be done, and then eventually Daigoro does pull this off. So yeah, it's on one hand, you could say it's very sophisticated child abuse, really, but it's like if you bought into the to the crazy ass samurai dedication of Lone Wolf and Cub, then you'll probably be able to buy into what's being offered here in New Lone Wolf and Cub between Shigekata and Daigoro. And had the series focused on that, I'd have no problem recommending it to fans of the original title. Unfortunately, a large portion of New Lone Wolf and Cub is dedicated to a frankly bonkers and crazy scheme from one of the Tokugawa's advisors, a guy Matsudara Izunokami, who sees Satsuma as being, and its fanatical samurai, as being a danger to the Tokugawa shogunate, and it aims to get it dissolved. And his efforts to do this involve secret, his own secret son who was spirited into Satsuma Han, in the body of a whale while he was posing as a fake Russian who had been swallowed by it. And then Matsudara actually burns his own face in order to assume the position of one of the key Satsuma's officials, who was on a boat with Shigekata and Daigoro when they were attacked by his own men. And also then the main villain is kind of is revealed to be Mamiya Rinzo, who is filling out his dad's orders. It's like through several groups of it's like of half Japanese, half foreigner samurai. It's like and like specialized drug addiction, and identity assuming. It's like master of disguise shit, and it's like, oh god, it's like it gets to the point where this is so crazy and so ridiculous to the point where you realize that, yeah, in the end, they probably could have achieved their goals if they had simply just stuck with their initial plan to obligate Shigekata to deliver this message and plant this item at Satsuma Han, and just not done anything else beyond that. But they had to keep hedging their bets, and then everything unraveled. So, like I said, the stuff with Shigekata and Daigoro in the series is good, but all of the like crazy ass planning to get Satsuma Han dissolved is just ridiculous and goes crazier and crazier over the course of the series. Had Koike simply focused on these two characters, like it would have been like the series probably would have been a much more worthy follow-up than it is. As it is, well, I've certainly read worse follow-ups to worse delayed follow-ups to old series. I'm looking at you, Gunsmith Cat's Burst. But if anyone who read the original series of Lone Wolf Cub decided to say, hey, you know what? Why don't I just pick up this new series as well? Well, you could do worse, but you know, it's like I said, it doesn't quite embarrass itself, but I don't know. It's like I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary. If you loved Lone Wolf and Cub to death and you were just dying for more, then yeah, go pick up the new series. And by the time you're done with it, I'm sure you'll realize that, hey, you know, okay, I'm cool with it. This is all I needed. I'm done. We don't need to see any more series. Though, I gotta admit, it's like at the end of the series, I kind of wanted more, really, because it ends definitively, but it also ends fairly abruptly too, to the point where, hey, you know, it's like if it just needed one more chapter to show us, you know, just what happened to Daigoro after this final what happened here. So I guess I'm contradicting myself. So like I said, it's New Lone Wolf Cub, not nearly as terrible as you'd expect for a decades-long delayed sequel follow-up, but not nearly necessary as well. Guess just if you want the pure Lone Wolf Cub experience, just go ahead and stick with the original 12-volume Omnibuy reprint from Dark Horse, and go ahead and check out Koike and Kojima's other series in Dark Horse, Samurai Executioner, also available in omnibus format, and Path of the Assassin, also available in 15-volume original series, 15-volume edition as well. But I don't think they're going to be reprinting that in omnibuy format as well. But it's also worth mentioning that, I guess, to finally wrap this up here, I kind of felt that for a while that New Lone Wolf Cub was kind of like Dark Horse's great white hope of a manga series in order to reignite their publishing fortunes, saying, hey, here's the big sequel to their biggest selling manga. It's like, hey, how can they make this series and surely they can try to find a way to build on things from here. Well, that didn't happen, and I also think we're lucky that we got all 11 volumes of the series and it didn't go on hiatus at some point. So, really, it's like the fact that this is all done is just kind of like one more nail in the coffin as far as Dark Horse goes, and Dark Horse manga goes, to the point where I'm only buying new volumes of I Am a Hero, the new volumes of Drifters they've promised us, which I hope that arrives, and yeah, Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm probably going to finish off the Shinji Ikari Raising Project once they release the final volume and their new Evangelion manga. The Pico Pico High School students, the video game centric one from the guys who did the funny bits in the comic tribute, but that's only because I'm sure Carl Horn can do a great translation job of that, show it the perspective that it deserves, which is none at all. But still, it's like now that New Lord for Cub is done, and that we're probably not going to be seeing any new Koike manga from Dark Horse. I'd love to be wrong about that, but I don't think I am. So it's just one more series that like it's kind of marks the end of an era at Dark Horse, and part of the end of the another signpost on the slow decline of once great manga imprint. God, that was depressing. John, it's like, come on, man. It's like you gotta come around and perk things up to the end, right, man?
Then I guess I shouldn't ask the question I was going to ask. So, the decline of manga from Dark Horse. I mean, that seems. Is it just that their publications are down, or are they just not translating as much? I mean, what's going on with this?
Dark Horse. Well, the problem is that Dark Horse will only publish stuff as long as it's selling, and that's I can't say that that's a bad that they think, hey, if you're not selling this stuff, then obviously you can't really I get anything for not publishing. But at the same time, you look at every other manga publisher out there, and they'll continue a series to the end. I mean, when I heard that Vertical did Twin Spica, and they actually went to double doing 2-in-1 volumes for the back half of their run with it in order to make sure they were able to get out the entire series. And Dark Horse, well, they haven't been able to pull off something like that. I mean, basically, if the series does not sell, they're not going to actually make an effort to actually go out and push it further. So that's why a lot of their series that I love haven't haven't made it are on permanent hiatus. I mean, I don't think that we'd be seeing. Dark Horse tweeted that we'd be seeing volumes 4 and 5 of Drifters, which have been out in Japan for 4 has been out since 2015. 5 has been out since came out last year, and the only reason we're going to be seeing these volumes is because the anime went out pretty well. So that's the thing. It's unless there is a significant media tie-in, either anime or live action, it doesn't seem that Dark Horse is able to actually manage to sell this stuff. Like I said, that's the case with the original series, Lone Wolf and Cub, because Frank Miller and First Comics have been able to do the hard work for establishing this series. That was one of the reasons that Dark Horse was able to to help bring it back, and also why it's their biggest selling manga. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just as a side note on Lone Wolf and Cub before we sign out, there is a very, very successful set of movies that were made, and
yes.
and I don't know I don't think you mentioned them, but you can get them. Animago, they're still around, and they actually hold the licenses for these, I believe.
That is correct.
And you can pick them. I actually have them on Blu-ray, and so they're highly recommended. The first one is an incredibly famous dub, especially in hip hop circles, and it's called Shogun Assassin. And and it's I have not watched that movie all the way through. However, it includes I believe it includes an interview with Samuel Jackson, because this is one of his influencing films when he was growing up. So just a little movie tie-in there, just whet the listeners' appetites out there. So and those movies also come highly recommended. I don't know how faithful they are to the manga stories, but there are 6 movies that are based off of them.
Okay,
So
it's I'm look. I have the Wikipedia page for Lone Wolf and Cub up.
mhm.
Um, there are 6 Japanese movies.
Yes.
Shogun Assassin is described as an English language dubbed film with 12 minutes from Sword of Vengeance and most of Baby Cart at the River Styx.
Mhm.
So apparently this is this influential film, which it sounds like it's kind of got the Robotech treatment
Mhm.
in the sense that you've got, like I said, it was just kind of like it was an influential film pieced together from bits of the other films that were put out from it.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not saying that I particularly care for that one. I have the original ones from Animego on Blu-ray, and they're wonderfully well remastered. Highly recommended. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that in
No,
passing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. If people liked Saw Shogun Assassin back in the day and loved it, and they got an appreciation of the series, more power to you.
Mhm.
I mean, just also be aware that, hey, if you want the authentic treatment, there's like the original six film series, and of course, 12 volumes of the original manga from Dark Horse.
Exactly. All right. So with that, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Oh yes, I'm going to talk about Chew from John Layman and Rob Guillory, one of the series I've really enjoyed from some Image over the years, and it's finally wrapped up just now.
All right. Well, we'll catch you up on Comic Picks by the Glicks next time.
Laters.
Bye.